Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Andrea Giraldo. Welcome to Meetings of the Minds, brought to you by the New York City Hispanic Chamber of Commerce in partnership with BronxNet. This show was created in direct response to the COVID-19 pandemic as a way to highlight the work of our members and partners, as well as to understand the resources that they have to help our community in those difficult times. Our first guest today is the founder of Wellness and Wellbeing, From Chaos to Calm. She joins us to share her career's journey as a lifelong educator and to highlight the services that she offers through her company. So let's give a warm welcome to Denise Olivera Schira. Very welcome, Denise. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. So welcome to the program. And of course, thank you for joining us. Can you tell our audience a little about your background, where you're from, how long you've been in the educational field?
Yes, I am. Well, first of all, thank you. I'm so excited to be a part of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and be invited to participate today. And I am a Bronxite, lifelong Bronxite, born and raised here, still live here, and have worked here for a very big portion of my life. But my family is from Puerto Rico, and I was born and raised and grew up in the Soundview area of the Bronx. My family's from the Soundview houses, the Soundview projects. And after coming out of a full scholarship at an Ivy League institution, I ended up starting my family earlier than I had planned. And I stayed at home for 7 years with my children, raising them, and eventually needed to start working and found myself substituting at a school. So I was really hoping to be a medicine and eventually switched that to working with children rather than medical in education. And so I started substitute teaching in the Bronx. And I worked my way up for over 30 years. I worked my way up through teaching in a school, in a classroom, into leading a school and doing teacher training, and eventually leading all of the various models that we've had in New York City, the districts and the regions and the networks, and ultimately the boroughs, and became assistant superintendent and education administrator and director centrally. And I worked with over 1,000 schools in New York in over 30 districts.
I guess that would be just about all the schools, almost.
we have almost 2,000, so not quite. But I did work in all the boroughs and over 30 different districts with thousands of students and staff and families. And during the pandemic, I was ready. My retirement age had come up, and I was thinking about moving on. But during the pandemic, it became very clear that the work I do around wellness and social emotional learning was needed, and so I remained and continued to do that training. And then once I retired just last summer, I again was asked by many to please continue the work around impact in social emotional work and wellness, so I created my own company for that reason.
Very good, very good. So how crucial was education for that journey to land you where you are today?
It's everything, and that's one of the reasons I say in so many of my writings, education saves lives, because education is what gave me opportunity and access and networking. It's what gave me exposure and, of course, content and knowledge. But education allowed me to give other students the opportunity to help them succeed and help their families navigate a lot of the challenges around our society, and so it's just been a big part of my life.
And that's very important. So I'd like to touch a little bit on how that education has helped you live your life to optimize that saying, education saves lives, right?
Right. Well, I was
expand, please.
Yeah, I was the first person in my family, my whole immediate circle, to go to college, four-year college,
generation.
And graduate, a four-year university. I was lucky to receive a full scholarship and went to Cornell University, and then really it opened up doors for me, and it helped me understand how important it is to not only have that access and that experience, but to provide it to others. So I really spent my 30-year career really helping others, not only students and families, but even other educators. Like I co-founded the New York State Association of Latino Administrators and Superintendents to help lift other administrators of color, administrators of Latino background, to also utilize the access and the opportunities and provide those experiences for the students they served as well.
Important. So fast forward, you started your company, Denise Schira LLC. What services do you offer, and what can you tell us about your company's goals, mission?
Absolutely. So a lot of the work I did was instructional for the first 14 or so years. In the last 16,
Back
17
in your
years.
career.
Right, while I was in teaching and in school administration and so on. And then the last 16 years, I really, I pivoted to the social emotional realm and support. And so wellness and well-being, from chaos to calm. I work with, and my goal is to transform lives. My goal is to transform lives through social, emotional, and physical wellness education, as well as just being able to do some crisis intervention training and help individuals as well as communities and different institutions to be able to utilize and benefit from a safe, healthy, and restorative setting that promotes positive outcomes and overall well-being. And a big part of that work that I do is to help people not only go from chaos to calm, but to help people really be aware and in touch with themselves and their competencies in the social emotional realm, and just be well overall.
Yeah. Can you share a little bit about any new programs and initiatives that you have currently or planned out?
Yes, with one of the things that I've been doing is I still work consulting in schools, so I'm always available to do any one of the different programs that I am supporting with the trainings and the workshops that are impactful for schools and communities and institutions. So I have been working in schools as a consultant. I've also been hired to train and work with and offer workshops to administrators that are both retired as well as in service throughout the city. And I still do speaking engagements around the country and the state to share those workshops, those impactful workshops and information, so that I can give back. And then 3 years ago, I actually was fortunate and I experienced breast cancer. And a big part of the wellness work really deepened for me personally. And I was able to apply for a full scholarship and become certified in teaching somatic movement and dance exercise for recovery. So I now am not only a breast cancer survivor after a double mastectomy and 4 surgeries, but I am a provider, recovery provider, and I offer those wellness classes, and many times I'm doing that as a volunteer, but I work with aged populations, limited mobility populations, as well as underserved communities, and I was offered a full scholarship so that I can continue to give back and work in underserved communities. So
you're a
it's
busy
been a
woman for sure.
Big part of that work.
And so busy that it's interesting that she is also an author, not only of one, but we have 2 books by Denise. So please explain to us what motivated you, what is behind these books? Because it's amazing with all that you do, and you still find time to write books.
Thank you. Well, yes, and I actually am grateful to Dr. Leanne Salazar Montoya, who is the main author of the book that put the project together. It's
Which
Latina
one?
Radiance, and she's actually, we have 3 books. One is coming out next month. So it's a trilogy project around Latina Radiance or Latinx Radiance. So Latina Radiance, Love Letters to the Soul, and all of these are available on Amazon and other sources for books, Barnes & Noble and so on. But Latina Radiance, Love Letters to the Soul is a book around coming from humble beginnings. It's educators at a high level like myself from across the country, and each of us has a chapter that we contributed thanks to Dr. Salazar Montoya. And we basically shared our personal stories as well as our professional journeys and wrote a letter to ourselves, our younger self, to let us know that not to give up, that we were
Yeah.
going to have resilience and we were going to be radiant and we were going to make it.
That's
And
so
the
beautiful.
second book is Leadership Recipes for Success, Latinx Radiance, Leadership Recipes for Success. And basically, it's our, in a recipe format, our advisement or guidance or recipe, if you will, for how to be successful in both life and professional career. But we also included recipes from our own cocina, right? So I have an asopao de andule recipe in there, in addition to my recipe
I
for
love it.
how I was able to
Yeah,
get to where
yeah.
I was able to get
Yeah.
to, and really just give back to the community. So they're meant
Awesome.
for inspiration.
So, and it's this will serve as a great segue. What you just mentioned, just stories on success into your younger self, right? Those letters. So my next question would be, what advice do you have for younger Latinos, Latinas that are looking to break into a career similar to yours? If you could just, briefly share some
Absolutely.
words of wisdom here before we part.
Right. Well, one of the most important things is just never giving up, right? Like, I was a stay-at-home mom. I had 2 young children. There were many obstacles in the way. I went down a different career path than I planned. But really being resilient and knowing that every failure or lack of success in that effort is just a lesson to be learned to continue to move forward and be resilient.
Yeah.
One of the recipes that's main for me is integrity, right? So never compromising your integrity. Throughout my journey, there were many moments that I was tested in compromising my integrity, and I do not compromise my integrity. That is my number
Yeah.
one recipe ingredient.
Yeah,
And,
that would be beautiful if people
yeah,
actually applied
exactly.
it.
and that's
Yeah.
really, for me, the bottom line is making sure that you don't give up on your dreams and you don't feel that anything should be able to stop you, no matter what. You go over, under, around, however you have to do to get there. But really not
So don't
compromising
lose
your integrity,
focus,
right? Not stepping on
basically.
others
Yeah.
while you're climbing the
Yes.
ladder, helping others, and always giving back, never forgetting where you come from, and giving back to your community, giving back to those who don't have that access and
Beautiful.
opportunity.
I love that. And so where can people find you on social? Please
Yes.
do share. I'm sure many would like to find the books, you.
Thank you.
And
Well, after
follow you.
3 decades in the DOE and retiring last summer, it's a very new company, so I do not have a website, but I do have LinkedIn, Denise Olivera Schira, and I also am reachable via email on Gmail. So my name again, Denise Schira at gmail.com, and I can be found also on Instagram and X, which formerly Twitter,
Formerly
Denise Schira as well. And I would love to work with any community that, whether it's an individual, a small community, or large institution or corporation, that is interested in building wellness, building their teams, building community, and
Beautiful.
fostering
Beautiful.
positivity.
Now, do you mind sharing your email again or your
Yes, it's
Twitter?
Denise Schira at gmail.com, and it's DenisesChira at gmail.com. And at Denise Schira for Instagram and Twitter/X.
Beautiful.
And Denise Olivera Schira, Olivera, for the LinkedIn information, which has almost all of my information
the
listed there.
Books can be found on Amazon as well. If
Yes.
any of you are interested, you can definitely find more about the books on Amazon. So thank you so much, Denise.
Thank
It was
you.
lovely to meet you and have
a
you on our
pleasure.
show and learn more of what you do. So again, you can find Denise Olivera Schira on LinkedIn or her email, deniseschira at gmail.com. And yeah, we look forward to following you on Amazon as well to see more
Yes.
about the book. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Meetings of the Minds here on Bronxnet.